Welcome back to the shop. Today we are going to take a look at some more site or shop lighting. Got a good deal on this. It is Klein Tools 1000 lumens work light. It's got a magnet on it. It's got various bracketry and it's USB-C charge. We're going to take a look at this because we recently took a look at a Milwaukee light that also claimed to be about the same specs. So I kind of like to take a look and compare the two and see which one makes more sense for what scenario. If you're keeping track, this thing is made in China. Now, this is part of the overall MODbox system, and you can see here that it has the hook that will hook it into MODbox stuff. That's kind of neat. I don't have a ton of MODbox boxes, but I do have a few. And I could see a use for having this light clipped onto the toolbox. Okay, so we have our tool out, and right off the bat, this is fairly compact, which is pretty nice. The magnets appear to be in these feet. You can see right there's a magnet. There's a magnet, there's a magnet, and there's a magnet. Nowhere else appears to be magnetized on the tool. Once you get it stuck though, you have, I would say, about 100 degrees of motion, which is nice. The tool can sit with a little bit of a downward angle if you have it set, which is handy. Here is your MODbox mechanism here, and that just clips onto whatever the MODbox equipment is, and that you have a flexing part of the tool here that allows you to disengage it. So that's kind of handy. Everything that's black is plastic, and everything that's orange is rubberized. You have a fairly robust joint held together with Allen cap screws, and there's inset nuts here. So everything's pretty flush. It moves smoothly. It does not flop easily, though you can make it slide a little bit, but if you had this set on something, I don't think you'd really be struggling with it getting creeped down on you, and if it does, you could always tighten it. So now the light itself, you push the button once, you get an indication of charge. Push it and hold it, you can turn the light on. Push the button momentarily again, it goes down to the next setting, does the same thing again, and goes back up. So there's 3 settings on this: 1000 lumens, 425 lumens, and 300 lumens. The 1000 lumens, they claim, will be 9 hours, which is a full workday. The 425 lumens would be 14 hours, they claim, and the 300 lumens, they claim, will give you 21 hours, which I think was similar specs to the Milwaukee that we looked at before. Push and hold the button, and the light turns off. If you push and hold, it does remember what the last setting you had it on was. So that's a nice feature. To charge it, they provide you with a USB-C cable, which is pretty nice here. It's not a bad cable, and it's not a great cable. It's PVC or ABS jacketed. The strain relief on the connectors is decent, but I would still not be overly rough with it, just like I wouldn't be with very many of the USB devices, because they all it's small wires and you should be careful with it. Let's see how much current this thing takes, and to do that we are going to plug in our shop testing USB charger here, and let's open up the USB charge door, which has a nice rubber piece on it here to flip it around. It appears to be staked in and you cannot swivel it. It's a rectangle there. So it only pulls out of the way. If you plug it in, it will tell you about where it's at in its charge cycle. And it appears as though you get about 1.3 amps or so out of it. Some of the USB-C we saw as much as 2 amps, but this one about 1.3, which is an average USB-C charge level. So I think we're going to let this charge, and we'll come back and do a test with our lighting once the battery's fully charged. It shouldn't really matter whether or not it's fully charged, but we'll be as fair as we can to this and let it charge up, and we'll see how bright it is, how far away from it, where that 1000 lumens claim happens to be. Let's see if this thing works while it's charging, and it does. So now it's sat a while. It appears as though I can't really change the brightness with it charging. So it might be limited to the lower power, and you can see the current draw from the USB-C has gone down, which is interesting. So let's turn it off, and we jump back to 1.3 amps. That's kind of interesting. I wouldn't have thought that would happen that way, but to answer your question, can you have it turned on while charging? Yes. Now let's turn it on and put it on bright. That's full bright. Let's plug it in to charge and see if it dims. It most definitely does. So if you're charging, you can't be on full bright. Turn that off and we'll let this charge. Okay, so the current is dropping off, and you can see we have 3 solidly lit lights and the last one to go. So current's dropping off, we ought to be getting close. Okay, so as you can see, no more current, full charge on the battery. So let's get this thing unhooked. The lights should go out. Okay, so much like what we did with the Milwaukee light, what I'd like to do, because they both claim the same full lumen rating, which is 1000 lumens. I think this Milwaukee light was around 19 inches, and we can double check that. We have a M18 battery here that we're going to throw on this, and we could double check these against each other. So what we're going to do is we're going to get our light meter, get our trusty light meter out, and this will measure in lux, which 1 lux is 1 lumen. So we should be able to tell. Now, all being fair, we have shop lights on in here and everything else, so it's not going to be exact science, but we're going to get close. So let's put our Milwaukee light out of the way here for now, and we'll stand our Klein light up just at the edge of frame here, and we will get the same tape measure out that we had before to test the Milwaukee light, and we will see how far away from the light our 1000 lumens is. So we'll push and hold. That, I believe, is our full brightness right there. Now that light is probably about a 5000K, so I'm wondering if the efficiency is going to be a little bit different between these two, because I think 4000K is takes a little bit more power to get the brightness than 5000K. So let's just get our light meter here, and we're going to go right in line. Make sure I get the right range here. So our 1000 lumens is right at about 21 inches. You can see we're just at the edge of the frame, and we're at 1000 lumens right there. Now I'm holding this pretty much directly in line with it. We could probably go back just a little bit more. Might get a little squirrely with the tape measure, but we'll give her a go here. So yeah, it's right at that 21 inch mark. So that's pretty close. Now for comparison, let's turn this off and let's go to the Milwaukee. One thing, this Klein has a little glow ring around the outside. I don't know if we mentioned that or not. We'll go to the Milwaukee here. Let everything tumble. Alright. And our 1000 lux is right at the try and get it as in line with the light as I can. It's right around 20 inches. So the rating, I don't know if you can make it out on screen. These are different color lights. Probably a little hard to pick up on. But you can see the white balance maybe between the two is a little different. So let's get the Milwaukee out, get the Klein back in, and we'll see where our ratings are for the other brightnesses. Okay, so next brightness down should be 425 lumens. Let's see how far away we have to be to get 425 lumens. I'm going to go with, we're right around 22 inches. That should go down one more, which should be 300 lumens. And that is right at about 2 foot. I know you can't see me, I'm just off screen here, but that 300 is right around 24 inches off of the light. Now, brightness wise, I think this Klein, let's compare. They're pretty close. They really are. Now runtime should be a little better on the Milwaukee on a 5 amp hour battery, and you can change the runtime on the Milwaukee. The Klein, you're going to be stuck with the battery that's in it. So that's, take that for what it is, and you're going to get your 9 hours at full brightness, your 14 hours loosely, 425 lumens mid power, and then your low power should get just about 21 hours on. So the Klein is nothing to really ignore, because if you want a nice compact light that has an integral magnet, this also has nice rubber feet on its magnets, so if you stick it on an electrical panel or something like that, it's not going to really slide around on you. So this has magnets on it. Now, a viewer mentioned that we could probably get some sort of magnet to put on the batteries, the Milwaukee batteries, which I think we're going to look into, but the Klein comes set up already with the magnet, or you have your hook here for your MODbox. So let me know in the comments below, did you get this light? Do you have it? Do you like it? Do you not like it? What don't you like about it? I think it's pretty versatile. I don't know how well it'll stay on something because you have a little bit of a lever arm, but I am also sticking this directly to rubberized metal, so it's not sticking the best. So I guess the best we can do here to try and stick this onto something is our piece of unistrut, and this thing seems to stick pretty well onto metal components. It'll hold this piece of strut. I can flick it off, but it takes quite a bit of force. So I think these magnets are decent. A concern I kind of have is you can get to a point where, yes, you can get to a point where you try and angle it and you'll lift this off. If you can kind of see in the line, this is lower than this. And you also have a bit of a lever arm here. It's nice that you can angle it any which way. So if you're stuck on the top of a cabinet, you can kind of give yourself nice viewing light, but I'd be a little worried that if you hit this, you might have a little bit more of a lever arm to pull it off. I would say this configuration would probably stick the best with the magnets, but all the same, it has magnets, which is a huge plus over this Milwaukee one. Okay, something I think that we should compare between these is the range of motion. And the Milwaukee, you can take from this angle and basically go 180 degrees. You can see the light goes a little bit further, but maybe 185. But you can do that. The Klein, we can take and go just over 90, really. It's just over 90 this way, and then this way the Klein can flip around 360 degrees because the battery is in here, so you can just turn this thing however you want. You can close it up like this if you want to store it. You can stick it to something and turn it every which way you really need to get the lighting in the area where you want. Where the Milwaukee, when you have it turned, you can go basically 270 degrees or so between the two spots, and you can close it up as well so you don't damage it while you're storing it somewhere. Both lights can be stored safely so you don't damage them. Let me know in the comments below, do you have this? Were you looking at getting it? Are the run times kind of close? I think I have something that I can shoot time lapse with here, so maybe we could take a look at the advertised time durations at some point with this. I'll have to see if I can set all that up, but this is overall a super nice work light. I have an older version that Klein had come out with that ran off of AAA's. Maybe a few people have that one. It's kind of smartphone sized, and it's super handy light. I mean, you just put the light in the cabinet and you have light. So as far as a simple, basic, usable work light, I think this thing is great. Just easy light to throw in a cabinet, get some light on what you're working on, and you're not relying on your headlamp all day or something else that's a little bit more clunky and cumbersome, something that you have to hook onto what you're working on. Having the magnets is super handy. So hopefully this was interesting. Let me know if you have one of these. I'd like to hear what your experiences are with it. And as always, thanks for watching and have a great day.